What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show here on a Wednesday afternoon. The Blazers tank is back on track, Eric. They lose by 30 tonight. They're right back to their losing by 30 ways. They lose to the New York Knicks 128-98.
Were you worried about Winslow coming back at all?
Not really. I mean, not really, to be honest with you. I know some other fans didn't really understand it, but I was not worried about Justice Winslow whatsoever messing up the potential tank. The Knicks didn't choke this one, thank goodness. So the Blazers gain a game on them. They create some serious separation. We'll look at the Tankathon standings in a little bit, but this is good news for the Blazers tank, of course. And you also have some more good news, Eric. With 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the third quarter, the Spurs are currently beating the Oklahoma City Thunder 91-78. So we'll keep you tuned in with that game. It's now 91-80, Spurs up 11 with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. We will wait to look at Tankathon until after that game's final, okay? Because if the Spurs win, the Blazers are back in 7th place in terms of odds.
Maybe we can get a miracle with the Kings beating the Bucks tonight as well.
Yeah, the Kings are currently just tipped off against the Bucks. It's Milwaukee 9, Sacramento 8 with 8.5 minutes left in the first quarter.
Ooh, 11-9 Kings, let's go.
I mean, if the Kings beat the Bucks,
Call it.
This would be the perfect tank night, Eric, if the Kings beat the Bucks. You got the Spurs taking care of business, and then right now the Blazers are 2 games back of the Kings. So if the Kings win, the Blazers will only be 1.5 games back of them. And I think they'd be tied in the win column as well. So the Blazers haven't played as many games as other teams, basically. If the Kings win this game, they will be tied with the Blazers in the win column. So we'll keep you tuned in with that game as well. I'm not expecting the Kings to win, but that's one of those where it's like, okay, if the Kings lose that game, you're okay with it. It's the Milwaukee Bucks. If they win that game, it's a game they weren't supposed to win, and that's phenomenal news. So it could be a good tank night.
Very much so.
Yep. Hopefully everybody's having a good Wednesday. Sorry the stream went live a little bit late. I was working and work went a little bit late for me. So, we're going to talk a little bit about this game, but we're mostly just going to talk about, some draft stuff. So there's like a big board and a mock draft release that Eric is going to, Eric sent me the links for them out there on the stream, and we'll talk about the draft. We'll, of course, look at Tankathon once that Spurs game is final. We could talk a little bit about March Madness, and speaking of March Madness, our free bracket pool has a link in the description, so go join it, fill out a bracket. We'll do something for the winner. At least it will be a shout out, okay? We'll at least shout out the winner. Maybe we'll do a little bit something more. I'm not sure yet. But the only way you can win anything is if you join that bracket pool, and it's free. So click that link. It's a super long freaking link in our description.
And for any of you who have never done a bracket before or have no idea what team to pick, just do yourself a favor, go to the bracket pool, fill out one bracket, and then tomorrow, it's so fun to watch the games or just look at the scores after the games if you don't feel like watching and be like, oh, I picked that game right and stuff. And you'll get hooked on it. I promise it'll be fun, and it's free so everyone can join. If you want a more serious one too, Tori has that. Yeah. Or is that one over now, or are you still accepting?
No, I'm still accepting. There's no limit to the amount of people we can have for that. So I've had a lot of people asking if it's full. I mean, we could have 50 people if we wanted. We're not going to get 50, but if you want to put a little money on the line, $20 buy-in, just DM me on Twitter or send us an email, blazersupprise@gmail.com, or message me on Discord. The best way to do it is definitely to DM me on Twitter, though, and you can put $20 down if you want a little something at stake. And you know what? The thing is sports gambling can get some people into trouble and whatnot, but as far as bracket pools go, putting $20 down, even if you lose, I think it's worth it because it gets you invested in the games. And it makes the games fun because you're rooting for certain teams, right? There's 16 games tomorrow, and there's 16 games the following day, and then there's 8 games the following day. For a good 3 weeks, you have rooting interests in teams you would never have rooting interests in, just because you put $20 on the line. Or even if you enter the free pool, I'm sure you guys want to win that too. I'll try and figure out some sort of prize for you guys, something, maybe a gift card or something, something small, something simple, but something for you to root for. That's what makes bracket pools fun, is it creates a rooting interest for you if you pick your bracket. So I'm looking forward to it. I love March Madness. It starts tomorrow, and we're gonna have Blazers Uprise live as usual tomorrow. In the middle of all that, we'll see. We only have one game for picks against the spread tomorrow. It's funny. The only game tomorrow. There's 16 March Madness games, and the NBA was like, okay, the only game we're gonna put tomorrow is Detroit and who are they playing?
It's like Orlando or something.
Yeah, it's like Detroit. Wait, I can look right here. It's like Detroit versus another bottom feeder.
Yeah.
Detroit, Orlando. Yeah, so 2 tanking teams. So I thought that was funny. So that's the only game we have to pick from tomorrow in Picks Against the Spread over on our second channel, link in description. But yeah, speaking of this game, Eric, the Blazers successfully lost this game, and Josh Hart didn't have another Damian Lillard-esque performance. So both are, I would have loved to have seen Josh Hart have another Damian Lillard performance in a loss, but he didn't carry us to a win, so that's the good news. He's 6 for 15, 17 points, 2 for 6 from 3. He started off hot. He started off with like 10 points in 9 minutes, so it looked like it might be another one of those types of games for him, but a little quieter game, 17 points in 28 minutes for Josh Hart.
Look at Brandon Williams shooting.
6 for 15, 2 for 6 from 3, just like Josh Hart.
Yep.
Yeah, they matched each other. Watford didn't. Cute. Very cute. Watford didn't have another 20-point game, but he had 5 assists and 1 turnover over his last 10 games. He's averaging close to 3 assists per game and only like a half a turnover per game. That continued today, him making plays for others. He rebounded well, 8 rebounds in 32 minutes. Just 0 for 3 from 3, 4 for 11 from the field. So didn't shoot the ball too well, but still doing the little things like he normally does. Just not, he had 3 games in a row. He had 20 points. So
tied for the team high with minus 25 too.
Good old minus 25. Chris Dunn also had a minus 25, but he was maybe the Blazers' best player today. 6 for 9 from the field, 1 for 1 from 3, 13.7 assists in 28 minutes.
Yeah, he wasn't too bad today.
Yeah.
Had some good defensive plays as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's a defender. You know what I realized thinking about Chris Dunn today? Is any point guard that can't shoot coming into the draft, I will fade them. Because I'm just thinking back of all the top 5 picks, because Chris Dunn in 2016 was the 5th overall pick. I'm thinking back in terms of some of the point guard busts, and all of them just couldn't shoot. Ntilikina, Dennis Smith Jr., Chris Dunn, that mold seems to be
Michael Carter-Williams.
Michael Carter-Williams as well.
Kendall Marshall.
Yeah, if you want to throw it back to Kendall Marshall, yeah. Kendall Marshall is another one of those. Yeah, the Dame draft, and I'm sure I'm missing a couple guys. What's
weird, though, is, after his rookie year, you wouldn't have said that about Dennis Smith Jr. and Michael Carter-Williams.
True. That's the thing. They started hot. They got a bunch of minutes off the bat, and it's they could do some things well. It's just, in the end, I don't know. In the end, you got to be able to shoot if you're a point guard, or you got to be really, really good at a bunch of other things. And neither of those guys were really, really good at a bunch of other things, unfortunately.
Trevin says Markelle Fultz. That's interesting.
I mean, Markelle Fultz is an outlier because he could shoot before the draft, and he's still solid.
Did he only shoot 34% in college or something from 3?
No, he was better than that, I think.
Was it?
Let me look it up because I'm curious. But he had a really good mid-range pull-up game. Markelle Fultz college stats, not NBA.
It's tough to know with him because he could still turn it around, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he was solid before he got that knee injury. He shot 41% from 3 in college. Some of those pull-ups. He shot 50% from 2, shooting a lot of contested mid-range pull-ups. He could legitimately shoot the lights out in college. He was just a pure scorer, averaged 23 points per game, 6 assists. He was legit, man. He was absolutely legit. The University of Washington had Jaden McDaniels and Isaiah Stewart on the same team. They had Markelle Fultz, and neither of those teams were good enough to make the tournament. Washington's just a travesty. But Markelle Fultz doesn't fit in that mold. Jarrett Culver isn't a point guard, but I guess he kind of fits in that mold.
Yeah, it's tough with non-point guards
and Russell Westbrook as well fits into that mold, I guess, because he's a bust right now. But if we're talking about draft prospects coming to the draft, there's no guard like that. But for the future, if there's a guard middle of the lottery to late lottery that can't shoot, I'm not trusting them. That was the way with Josh Giddey. That's why I was low on Josh Giddey, and he's kind of worked out, but he has size. He's 6'7".
Well, that's why we're low on LaMelo too.
Yeah,
that's worked out, but
yeah. Yep. So as far as
what's weird, if you don't include point guards, you'd probably have to include someone like R.J. Barrett in that too, and he's played pretty well this season. Speaking of this game.
Yeah. I don't know. I trusted his shot more than like Dennis Smith Jr.'s coming into the NBA. Definitely Michael Carter Williams's. But that's the thing. The guys with size, they can that can kind of make up for it. By the way, there won't be any player cards or graphics tonight. I saw a couple people asking about it. Just with this team in this state, I'm just keeping it light on the graphics, talking about the players at the start. I don't want to spend an hour talking about this team, and I don't know if we could spend an hour talking about this team. That would probably give me a headache. So, gonna chill on the graphics probably for the rest of the year. Maybe if we win, that'll change. Last game of the season, we'll probably do graphics and whatnot. But at this point, we're chilling on the graphics. Anyway, what do you want to talk about from this game, Eric? I'll give this game a shot.
I thought the Knicks played great.
Well, they scored 128 points.
Yeah, I mean, Eubanks was solid again. I thought Winslow looked okay physically, but obviously he did not shoot well. Shot 6 threes, only hit one of them. That's more like the normal Justice Winslow, so maybe he's regressing back to his old form. I was happy they started or took Ellaby out of the lineup instead of the starting lineup instead of Watford, so I was glad they kept him in there. But other than that, it's hard to say too much. Keon, I still don't understand why Keon's playing 17 minutes.
Yep.
We lost by 30. Play Keon 30 minutes. What? Yep. What are we doing? Why aren't we developing him now? This makes no sense to me. I know he's not a point guard, but screw it. We're losing by 30 anyway. Why not just get him on the floor?
We played Macklemore 14 minutes. We played Ellaby 22 minutes. You could have given some of those minutes to Keon.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, if I don't want to hear this crap over the summer, we have a great developmental guy and Keon Johnson. It's well, then why didn't you give him minutes when he had a chance to get minutes? And moving forward, next year, he's probably not going to get many minutes unless something really bad happens or he turns into a much better player over the summer. But to do that, to even have a chance to do that, to me, you've got to play him major minutes right now, and I don't understand that at all.
Yep. Greg Brown also plays 12 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's another one. I mean, are these guys part of our future or not? Because if they are, they should be getting all the minutes right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Agree. You look at Eubanks getting 30 minutes. Give Greg Brown some of those minutes. You're not trying to win. You're trying to develop. Okay, you don't need to play Drew Eubanks 30 minutes. I really don't understand that. It's actually quite frustrating. Greg Brown plays 12. Their minutes should be even at about 20 a game. Greg Brown should at least be playing 20 minutes a game right now. We're not trying to win basketball games. We're trying to develop talent. I don't know if the front office and Chauncey are exactly on the same page with that, because I think the front office and ownership, wants to get a higher draft pick, wants to lose, and would want to try and develop a couple of these guys more than playing Greg Brown 12 minutes a game and Keon Johnson 18 minutes a game. So both those guys' minutes kind of bug me. When you look at Brandon Williams 29 minutes, Ben McLemore played 14, CJ Ellaby played 22, Eubanks played 30. I don't
Chris
understand.
Dunn on a 2-day is playing, or a 10-day is playing 27
28.
Yeah.
28. That's why I don't know if you have a different website or something that rounds differently, but yeah, ESPN says 28 for Chris Dunn, 18 for Keon Johnson. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that whatsoever. You don't even see, that's the thing. You don't even have to play Keon Johnson at point guard. They played a lineup that included some Brandon Williams and Chris Dunn together, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Because Brandon Williams played 29 minutes a game, Chris Dunn played 28. If both those guys are only playing point guard, it would be 24 minutes apiece for them. So that's an extra 9 minutes. They played together for 9 minutes today. That's 9 minutes that should have went to Keon Johnson. He should have played 27 minutes instead he plays 18. So the minutes distribution is the one complaint I have with this team right now. I like that they're losing. I don't really care about their performance. I just want to develop some of these guys, and they should be playing more minutes.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this, and this is going to seem like a absolute trashing of this person, but I'm being kind of serious, and like this isn't meant to be like a diss on him, but it's entirely possible the 3 games leading up to this could be Trendon's best games of his career, like looking back on it, right? Like none of these guys are guaranteed anything moving forward. And so like this is such a weird time because guys like Trendon are going to go back to being like secondary players or maybe not even playing at all some games next year, right? And fighting for roster spots or contracts and things like that. Whereas right now, it's like, let them have fun. Get these guys, like, if you're under contract next year, they should be in the game playing the most minutes. That should be, yeah, so what, Keon, Watford, and Greg Brown. Those 3 should be getting the most minutes on this team, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree. As a team, let's look at team stats for a sec. The Blazers shoot 44% from the field and 32% from 3. The Knicks shoot 50% from the field and 42% from 3. Both teams actually made 40 field goals. The Blazers got 11 more shots, but the differential in this game, Eric, the Knicks shot 39 free throws. The Blazers shot 14.
I was going to say, I think they had 20-something in the first half, so I was wondering what they finished with. But
yeah, the Knicks were 32 for 39 from the free throw line. Not only did the Blazers just not get to the free throw line anywhere near as much as the Knicks, they also didn't make their free throws. They were 7 for 14, 50%. The Knicks scored an extra 25 points from the free throw line and won by 30. So, I mean, if this was a regular game, I probably would have bbeen really frustrated if we were trying to win this game with the free throw differential there. But honestly, if the refs want to rig it for the New York Knicks, if they play the Blazers, if the refs want to rig it against the Blazers for the rest of the season, I will applaud that. Rig it against the Blazers. Go ahead. Help us lose. Help us tank. Help us get that top draft pick. I am down for that.
Well, I mean, other than a couple of guys, we have pretty much all ones that, if you do believe in the preferential treatment argument that refs give certain players and don't give to young players, that should be the case, right?
Yeah.
So we should have guys like Watford fouling out. We always saw this with Zach Collins. It drove me crazy that like fouls that no one else commits, it's a foul on him, but like he goes straight up and stuff. And so yeah, I don't mind that either, actually. As long as they can look back on film and say, no, you played that right,
Yeah, speaking of playing right, the Thunder, I guess, are playing right. The Spurs are losing by 3, Eric.
Oh, nice. Well, the only good thing is, I mean, if you still want an outside shot of the Thunder passing us, since they still play us a couple times...
They're
not going
the Spurs
to,
3 times. Yeah.
I know. I'm just saying, like, we could lose those 3 to the Spurs so they can be out of it, but the Thunder winning this game still gives them an outside chance of passing us. That's all I'm saying.
What do you think our record is the rest of the season, right? So we have 14 games left. I think like 3-11.
Yeah, I was going to say 3-11, 4-10-ish.
4-10, yeah. So let's say 4-10.
A little bit
because
depends
our schedule's easy.
I mean, if Ant comes back, if Nerd comes back, I don't expect them to come back, but if they do, might be a couple more than that, but yeah.
Let's say we go 4-10 and the Thunder win this game, right? That would put them at 21 wins and we'd get 30. The Thunder would then have to go 9-4 the rest of the way.
That's true.
I don't think there's any way we catch up to the Thunder.
We'd have to lose out, yeah. If we lost out.
If we lost every single game, which is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But if we lost every single game, if the Thunder win this game, they'd still have to go 5-8 the rest of the season, which I still think is
play us twice, so it'd just have to be 3-8.
3-8 outside. We have to lose out, and then that's not. That's extremely improbable.
The door is open a crack.
I mean, you really because the players are still going to try and win. I don't think it's probable that we beat the Thunder both times.
No,
and if we split with the Thunder, it's like it's a done deal. So it would be a very.
I was just trying to find some sort of silver lining.
I know, but I gotta be the realist here and crush
back up 3. Let's go.
I gotta crush your silver lining. I just think there's no
Hopefully
chance.
We don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, so therefore I'm rooting for the Thunder. Because here's the thing, too, Eric. I want the Spurs to pass the Pelicans for that 10th play-in spot. I don't want the Pelicans to play the freaking Los Angeles freaking Lakers.
Wait, I thought you didn't want that because you wanted them to have less odds to move up.
Bro, but at this point...
Now you're back the other way?
Well, no, like, I want the Pelicans to be like the 9th pick without being in the play-in position. Or something like that, right? Like, that's idealistic. 8th or 9th without being in the play-in position. Because at this point, you can't trust the Los Angeles Lakers to beat the Houston Rockets, let alone the Pelicans in a play-in. The Lakers are a tragic mess right now. They lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves 124-104. They get blown out once again. They get blown out every single night. Russell Westbrook isn't trying. LeBron James isn't trying. I've never seen a team not try to the extent that the Los Angeles Lakers don't try. They are a disaster. I don't trust the Lakers to beat the Pelicans because if you just see their body language and you just see, like, they're not... I don't think that this team, a number of players on this team, will want to win that play-in game. It looks like they don't even want to be out there. So at this point, I don't think you can trust the Lakers to beat the Pelicans in a play-in game. And then we're talking about, oh, Clippers, please save our Pelicans pick and beat the Pelicans in the second play-in game. That's going to be nerve-wracking. So I'm just fingers crossed for San Antonio passing up the Pelicans.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. Do you think maybe a little bit of it is the Lakers and, like, they're too far away from the Clippers and Timberwolves now to catch them? So they know it's going to come down to the play-in game and they don't care anymore because no matter if they win or lose games, like, pretty much no. I mean, they could lose home court in that play-in game, I guess. That would be, but I don't know if they care that much about that because they're going to have to be in that 9-10 play-in game whether they suck the rest of the season or play well. So maybe they're just hoping AD comes back and they're not going to try and save some energy for that. That's the only thing I can think of.
I mean, that's possible, but, like, you can tell with their body language that it's more than that.
Man, there was a play where Beverly, like, and Westbrook were standing, like, on the sideline, and a shot went up, and Beverly goes around Westbrook, goes in. I forgot who it was, but someone, like, goes to grab the rebound of the Lakers, and Beverly goes in and steals it from him and gets a possession. Mm-hmm. And this whole time, like, Westbrook's just still standing where he was at the beginning of the play. Like, he didn't even move and was just standing there watching the whole thing. And it's like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. Go look up that clip on Twitter because I saw that too, and it shows you everything that you need to know about the Los Angeles Lakers right now. Shout out to Mills Welsh, $2 dono. You guys think we could catch Indiana? We'll look at the Tankathon after the Spurs game, okay, Mills Welsh? So hopefully you have time to stick around, and we'll look at the Tankathon, and I think we have an outside chance of catching Indiana. I'll go into that.
We do play them coming up, so we need to lose to them.
Yeah, that's a must-lose if we want to catch them.
Yeah.
It's interesting talking about, like, must-wins and must-loses.
Must-lose.
Yeah, so...
every game's a must-lose from here.
Yeah, I mean... But that's one of those must-loses if we want to catch them.
3:42 left. Spurs up 3 still.
Yeah, I will... I'll keep you guys posted with that game. Is that on... No, it's not.
So... Going back to what's happening with the Blazers real quick, I just want to bring up some stuff that people in chat were mentioning. So several people mentioned that Billups is coaching to win games, and that's why he's not playing certain players. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, Billups is coaching to develop players. He's coaching to win games, but he's also coaching to develop players, or you should be. Right? You develop players and try and win games. You don't win games. You don't try and win meaningless games at the expense of developing guys. You basically try and do both. Both go hand in hand. So, like, the front office and the ownership group and him needs to be on the same page. And if this is what the front office and ownership group wants right now, then their priorities are misplaced. Okay? I understand, like, Chauncey and the players are going to want to win games, but there's no reason why Keon Johnson should only be playing 18 minutes just so you can play Chris Dunn and Brandon Williams together for 9 minutes. Because honestly, like, is Keon Johnson even that much worse than either of those guys? Like, Keon Johnson's been playing better-ish lately. And Keon Johnson was solid today. He was 3 for 5. 1 for 2 from, let me make sure this is right and go back to the box score. Yeah, 3 for 5, 1 for 2 from the 3-point line, had 2 assists, only 1 turnover, and plays defense. So I don't understand why he's only playing 18 minutes at the expense of Chris Dunn or Brandon Williams playing the minutes that they are. It doesn't really make sense to me.
Well, Chris Dunn, the only thing that makes sense is, as other people are pointing out, maybe they're just trying to give him a look on the 10-day to see if he's worth keeping around. But
guys like that are just like a dime a dozen.
No,
you know what I mean?
agree,
it's like we got Brandon Williams on our 2-way next year.
I'm just trying to think of like what their mindset is.
No, I know.
Like you mentioned, Brandon Williams is already on a 2-way next year, so we don't have to really see him play, right?
Yeah.
But Eubanks, I mean, we know what Eubanks is, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious. He could put up okay numbers. He's not a starting center, but you maybe could have him as a outside chance of a backup center, but more likely, best case scenario, you want him as a third string center type guy. So, like, I don't understand why we need to see any more of him. Like, we know what he is at this point in his career.
Yep. Spurs up 3 with 2 minutes 20 seconds left. They just committed a shooting foul. I don't know who on, and then they just called a full timeout. So right now their win chance percentage is 58%.
And then along those lines, AJ asked, do you think the young guys would get scared or frustrated if they make too many mistakes? Maybe that's part of it. Like, yeah. That's what like Chauncey should just be like, go out and play. Like, I don't care if you mess up as long as you're understanding why you messed up and you're learning from it, right? So next time you don't make that same mistake, and that just takes minutes, in my opinion. Like, guy like Greg Brown especially just needs those minutes.
Yeah.
And if they are as high in Keon as they tried to claim to be at the trade deadline, like, they should be developing this guy because he should be showing stuff. And worst case scenario, he ups his trade value for this summer, right?
Yeah, but guess what, Eric? They weren't actually high on Keon Johnson at the trade deadline.
They just got ripped off.
And a bunch of people are tricked into thinking that they were. Because, I mean, maybe that's not the case, but that's what I think is the case. I think that ownership basically panicked, wanted to make sure they got under luxury tax. Jody probably has a direct line to Steve Ballmer, a Microsoft connection, and I think ownership basically forced Cronin to do that trade. And then Cronin tries to spin it to cover for ownership because he wants to keep the job and say, so he's saying, oh yeah, we're really high on Keon Johnson. I don't think they were actually really high on Keon Johnson. It's like, where is he going to get minutes next year? How are we going to be able to develop him given our roster situation? The only way he gets minutes next year, I think, is if we trade Josh Hart, but obviously that's not the way to go. The only way to go, hypothetical, is a little bit off topic compared to what we're talking about, but the only way I would really look to trade Josh Hart is if we end up with the 4th overall pick and wanted to take Jaden Ivey there. Okay? Then at that point, you're trying to trade Josh Hart for some help at the forward spots, and Jaden Ivey's your third guard. That's the only way I would like actively look to trade Josh Hart. Of course, a team could really want him and make a deal that you can't refuse, but that's the only way that I would actively look to shop him. So it's like you got your 3-guard rotation, and Keon Johnson's obviously a guard where he's not going to get minutes unless something happens next year. So I don't really understand that. They fouled Poku on a freaking 3, Eric.
The Spurs low-key tanking.
Frustrating. How do you foul Poku on a 3, man? As if you're going to block his shot. Poku for the season, 28% from 3, and you foul him from 3. That's triggering. Anyway.
So David Yu says John Hollinger podcast mentioned that ducking the tax makes it easier to make other deals. So Um,
That explains the norm trade because teams won't use it as leverage. Um,
but
the Go ahead.
we made the apparently we were talking to the Pelicans for 2 weeks. CJ knew it 2 weeks before he was traded, had already approved them as a destination he wanted to go to, and that move saved us. It got us way under the tax. So why not do that and then use that leverage that you created or that was being used against you to trade Norman Rocco then for better assets? Yes, that might explain what happened. But if we were making that CJ trade to get way under the tax, which we all knew, I mean, Tori and I sat here and talked about this on like 800 streams, how New Orleans had a trade exception that could allow us to get way under the tax and create a huge trade exception from that move, right? And we knew that was the case if we made a trade with them, that they were going to have to take on salary. They had a huge gap between where they were at salary wise and the luxury tax, so they didn't have to worry about tax unless they took more than like 22 million or something on. So like that's how we should have approached it, is to make that trade first and then unloaded those other pieces.
Yeah, because I guarantee you that Clippers trade would have been there on trade deadline day, because it's not like the Clippers gave up anything that anybody wants, and if they knew that was on the table, they're just going to sit and wait and pray for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like, yeah, we could have gone back to that trade at any point, which is dumb. And then also, you could have maybe worked the trades together and made them at the same time. And then from Portland's perspective, since we did both teams a favor, or we're trying to do favors for certain players, like we could have done those trades at the same time and maybe worked it out to where we got an even bigger trade exception because we mixed everything up. But yeah.
30 seconds left, Spurs up 1. SGA shot a 30-foot three-point pull-up jumper with like 5 seconds into the possession. DeJounte Murray misses a shot with 10 seconds left.
Oh,
SGA defensive rebound with 8 seconds left. And Poku makes a 3 with 5 seconds left.
Oh,
oh no, a driving layup. It said 3 at first, it glitched. But Poku made a driving layup. Thunder up 1 with 5 seconds left. Oh, it was a defensive goaltending on Keldon Johnson. I hate rooting for trash teams to win games. But it's like you're playing a trash team, man. It's the freaking Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah, so AJ, yeah, I'm mad about that too, because I mean, who knows if they get Norm instead of LeVert, but I said this at the time, there is a huge bunch in teams, right? The Cavs, they're still going to make the playoffs, but look for them to fall down further in the standings, and now they're kind of teetering on making the play-in or not, and a lottery-protected pick from them, if they end up being like the 7th or 8th seed, or even the 6th seed, is going to be late teens, and that pick would have been very nice to have as well, instead of doing the Clipper trade. But yeah, Jackson's calling a Keldon corner 3 at the buzzer, so speak it into existence.
Jinx and Jackson.
At least they have a timeout, I guess.
Jinx and Jackson, yeah. Spurs took a full timeout, yeah.
So they could advance the ball.
They're going to give it to DeJounte Murray, and he's going to break like a contested mid-range, dude. I'm just waiting for Gamecast to update for the freaking Thunder and Spurs. God. At least we play the Thurs. I can't even talk. At least we play the Spurs 3 times. Jakob Poeltl entered the game for Jakob Poeltl, I guess.
Remember that game last year?
And Thunder takes a timeout. Go ahead.
There was that game against the Spurs, I think it was early last year, where we won by 1 point at San Antonio, and I forgot what happened, but Poeltl got like an offensive rebound and shot like an 8-footer that rimmed off at the buzzer or something.
I don't remember that, to be honest.
I remember that.
Nope.
Dennis, we're waiting for the games that influence Tankathon to be over before we do Tankathon.
Yep, Spurs are down 1 with 5 seconds left with the ball against OKC. At least the Kings are up 6 with 6 minutes left in the second quarter. If the Spurs could win the freaking game here, it could be a really good tank night. Or it could have go from really good to really freaking bad. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad because Portland lost, but...
Yeah.
Freaking Spurs, man. I'm just sitting here staring at this Tankathon page waiting for it to update. This is my life, dude. Utah's currently up 8 against Chicago start of the fourth quarter. I mean, those are winning teams, though, so we don't care. Sadly. Is that who you'd go to? Keldon? What would you run here, Eric?
I would actually try... Who do they have in the game?
I might know.
I might try to fool him and run like a backdoor pick lob for Primo or something. And
Primo?
Yeah, and just try to see if that's open. If that's not there, run like a double screen for either Lonnie or DeJounte, I think, coming towards the ball, and then just let them create.
Yeah, I do it for DeJounte or Keldon. Lonnie's 5 for 17.
Yeah. I didn't see his stats, but...
No, I know. I know you don't have him up. They got Vit Krejci in. Aaron Wiggins. We were talking about the Thunder here. Theo Maledon. Oh, God.
Let's go.
Lonnie Walker makes a 26-foot three with half a second left. Okay, Eric. Props to you.
Let's go.
Okay, well, you know, screw Lottie's stats before that. He just clutched up.
He's got that clutch gene, right?
Yep, Thunder full timeout with half a second left. I wonder, did they run him off a double screen, chat?
I don't know. I didn't see it. I just saw the thing.
Well, yeah, okay. Huh. I've always been a Lonnie Walker believer, too, but I've jumped off that bandwagon this year. He hasn't developed, so I'm looking at him like 5 for 17. Don't go to him. And then he hits hopefully a game winner. I'm going to knock on wood.
No game time, yeah.
And the Kings are up 6 against Milwaukee with 6 minutes left in the second.
Priest,
so just don't do something
Sorry, man,
stupid.
you get a timeout for that.
Who gets a... What did Priest do? Oh, fake, yeah. Mega timeout.
He caught the inbound, but did he come off a screen off the inbound or just catch it?
What if Priest is like at the game?
He's not.
The clock back to 1.3? Oh, no. God. All right, well... I need a Gamecast set up. I need Gabe's Gamecast set up. What's up, Gabe?
Hello, Mr. Guerrero.
We're scoreboard watching Spurs and Thunder, hoping the Spurs don't choke here with 1.3 seconds left because we passed them in Tankathon if they win.
This is what our life has become.
I know you know this life, Gabe, as a Suns fan.
We're all hooked on a Thunder Spurs game. Did you think we'd be here in a post-game show?
No, this is like
a Spurs Thunder game.
This is like the opposite of like 5 years ago. Thunder full timeout. I don't know if that's glitching or what. It says 0 seconds left in the fourth, and the score is still 122 to 120. So I don't know if that means that the Thunder missed or what happened.
Well, Kyle says he was bunched up with 3 guys and they all broke away from each other. So kind of like a double screen.
Josh Primo blocked SGA's shot.
Let's go. Great draft
Good job, Josh Primo.
Way to pick him 12th in the draft. Just for this moment.
Yeah, just for this moment. Okay, so the Blazers, we'll see when Tankathon updates
Spurs.
This game.
Let's go.
So the Blazers now pass the Spurs in Tankathon. Their percentage of a top 4 pick just rose from 26 to 32%. Number 1% chance just rose from 6 to 7.5%. So good job, Josh Primo. Good job, Lonnie Walker. We appreciate your contributions to the Blazers tank. Okay. Meanwhile, the Bucks are up 1 with 5 minutes left in the second quarter.
Already back in the lead.
Yeah. But I mean, the Spurs took care of business. I don't expect the Kings to win this game, so if they do, I mean, we're looking good.
Mm-hmm.
We don't unfortunately play the Kings again this season, but at least
Yeah.
we lost to them when we were trying to win, right?
Yeah.
Somehow,
One
some
and
way. Lost 2 games to them when we were actually trying to win games. And I think the Kings are still trying to win games, and they're still losing games like crazy.
All right, Chris. At least he contested it well then.
I mean, he got credit for a block, so yo, go call up ESPN.
Blazers legend Josh Freeman.
Yeah. So in this game, DeJounte Murray had 26 points, 12 assists, 9 boards. Keldon Johnson, 22 points. SGA had 34. He really tried to get the Thunder to win that game. So, yeah, honestly, like, I'm not looking at the Thunder. I'm not even rooting for them to win games, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, we want them to lose this game because it's the Spurs, but, like, in general, I think they're uncatchable at this point. Indiana...
They just need to win 2 games the rest of the year, in my mind, and that's against us both times.
I'm going to keep refreshing Tankathon until San Antonio's record updates. I don't know how fast Tankathon updates, but
What's up, Derek? How's fatherhood? What has it been, like a month now?
Good job, Lonnie Walker, man. So. What a game for a tank off. Anyway,
do you think both front offices were like, no?
Yeah.
Yes, they were cheering just like us.
So yeah. I wonder how much front offices root to lose, but
dude, Presti must have been so mad that last game where they played the Thunder played the Clippers last year, and the Clippers tried to lose to avoid the Lakers, and they ended up costing them draft positioning and all that.
Yeah, that's bad. Let's look at the articles that you sent me, okay? And then hopefully Tankathon will be updated.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go with this. So we have the Ringers big board, okay?
Take this with a grain of salt because it's Kevin O'Connor, but you'll like who he has at number 1.
Yeah, I haven't looked at any of this yet, so we will see who's at number 1. I already knew who was at number 1 because you said that. Is Chet Jabari at 2? I mean, just have these guys the top 2 and I respect it, all right? Anything else and I don't respect it. Read full scouting report. This is a pretty solid write-up.
Yep.
Ambidextrous shot blocker, sliding his feet laterally on perimeter, competent enough level to bother opponents using his length, which would be useful on NBA switches. Defensive, blah, blah, blah. Elite interior finisher, see, like, everything that he probably has wrote up about these top guys, like I've said or you've said. So, like, I just went to Jabari's just to look at his minuses, and doesn't get very low with the ball and doesn't have the tightest handle. That's been my biggest critique with Jabari. That's the thing, though. If Jabari figures out how to become, like, a better ball handler and more of a shot creator, then his upside is unlimited, you know, because he's a freaking sniper, can make jumpers, contested, any type of jumper he can make. He just has to improve his dribble drive game. Defensively has a lot upside as well, so that's interesting. I assume he has Banchero at 3.
This is on the Ringers draft coverage, if for anyone asking. This is Kevin O'Connor's big board.
Banchero is at 3. I agree with that.
I like the little badges he puts for...
Yeah, this is a good, like, I like this website, the layout of this website, and the Ringer, I like the aesthetic. You know, as somebody that does graphics and, like, I like these badges. These are Krish badges, except completely different. Yeah, Banchero at 3. At 4, I assume it's Ivy. It is Ivy at 4. I'm interested to see who's 5. Have you read this entire big board?
Yeah, I've looked at it. So not surprising me.
At 5, it's Keegan Murray. I can't, like, stop it from going down and looking at the ones ahead of that. But, I mean, I can understand having Keegan Murray at 5.
He's definitely entered the conversation. I think it's the top four is pretty set.
Yeah.
And I think Chet's actually, I've seen a lot of stuff with him one now,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is interesting. And then, yeah, 5, 6 is pretty much interchangeable with the next two players.
Yep. It was funny because like before the season he was like looked at as number one, and then early in the season Bankero became number one, and then Jabari, and then people were like, oh wait, Jabari Smith's really good, and then he became number one, and
Mm,
now it seems like it's back to Chet.
yeah.
So it's interesting how that's Rudy Gobert with perimeter skills, Gen Z Pau Gasol. I'd take Rudy
I,
Gobert with perimeter skills,
I
who
think
can play the four.
Pal's actually one of the best comparisons I've seen for Chet.
I thought Pau wasn't like that good defensively though.
In his prime, he was pretty good. Really smart. Smart. I think that's where it comes in.
And I don't remember him shooting many threes with the Lakers, so I don't know. I mean, as a Gonzaga fan, as a Chet fan, I like the comparison of Rudy Gobert with perimeter skills.
Priest, no one has declared for the draft yet because it hasn't time for that yet.
Yeah, yep. Smith, like Keegan Murray 5, I understand. I've seen people say, "Oh, we better take Keegan Murray if we get the third pick or something like that." It's like, no, I no, he doesn't enter this top four for me. At 4, I know he makes more positional sense, but Ivy has much more star potential, and you just take the star and you try and trade Josh Hart then, and hope that Josh Hart's tear at the end of the season gives them some good trade value.
Adam, the lottery for the draft positioning is May 17th. And
Yep.
we will be live right here on this channel, hoping either yelling and screaming very loudly or in tears of pain.
And tears of pain. Um, you got AJ Griffin 6. I agree with Shane Sharp 7. Jalen Duran 8. Sohan at 9. Okay,
Yeah.
well, Sharp at 7. Okay, that's solid. Honestly, like upside wise, could have the highest upside in this draft. Nobody knows what he is. He's just a wild card. But was like the number one prospect in his class.
Yeah.
So kind of like an Anthony Simons type of pick in a way, I think, but like just more, maybe even more upside. 6'6". I want to see his measurements because like here's the thing, Eric. If he's actually 6'6" and like has a long wingspan, I have no idea what his measurements are.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that mean it could be a 3?
Yeah. I mean, that's the same. That's the same thing I've been saying about O'Shea Agbaji and Benedict Mathurin, is that all three of those guys, if they measure 6'6" with a nice wingspan, could play small forward, and we'd be good with any one of those guys, I think.
Shades of Paul George, Tall Bradley Beal, Jalen Green. I mean, if he has the measurements to play the 3, then if these guys go top 6, I think you have to take them at 7. Because what have I always said? It's like the Blazers have to raise their ceiling. They have to maximize their ceiling. They have to maximize their upside. This would be the pick to do it.
Yeah.
And then, like, long term, maybe he becomes like the starting shooting guard next to Anthony Simons. Like this would be. That would be my pick at 7 if the top 6 went this way. I'd take him over Johnny Davis. I'd take him over, I don't know, Duran. I'd take him over Mathurin. Like, I think this would have to be a pick.
Mathurin's tough for me because I still think he has some upside to be a star as well. But, yeah. Like, so if we don't move up and we're in the 6 to 8 range with our pick, I think you have to get one of Griffin, Sharp, or Mathurin. Like, just I'd be fine with any one of those. Obviously, like you said, the measurements are going to come into play, but I think we got to get one of those.
Yeah, I mean, if he has the measurements to play small forward, I'd take Sharp over AJ Griffin and Keegan Murray. I would take him 5 because he does have some downside, but the bit that I've watched of him, like, there's things that are obvious right from the jump, right when you see him. Like, he's very shifty, he's very athletic. His jump shot looks good. His ball handling looks good. Like, he just looks like he's gonna be a point per game scorer. But I mean, you look at Jalen Green this year. Jalen Green's really struggled. Jalen Green looked that way too. So that's the thing is, you don't know if he's going to be able to knock down shots at an efficient enough level, especially considering he didn't play in college. But it's like if you have Damian Lillard as a mentor, look at what Damian Lillard's done with Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons didn't play any college, and he's been just fine. So he's very young. Shaden Sharp, if he's like 6'4.5" with like a 6'7" wingspan, then I'm nowhere near as high. Like the idea of him playing small forward and potentially being like a star in a couple years, and it seems like he has the body and the athleticism to maybe be a really good defensive player at the 3. That would be intriguing.
DJ Vega says we should talk more about Sharp since he hasn't played in college. That's the problem. There's nothing to talk about him.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about his high school thing, but I don't know. It's tough. Like he's going to be. So I don't know why he's not playing. And that kind of scares me a little bit. Like they're hiding him a little bit or something. Because why wouldn't they want him to play if he's eligible?
Well, why would they hide him?
But why? Because Calipari's probably doing him a favor. I mean, like he's got to think about that in terms of that's how Calipari makes his team so good is recruiting. So he's got to do what's best for the recruits in those situations. But I just don't understand why, if he's eligible, why he wouldn't be trying to help them win. Unless they're worried about somehow him becoming ineligible and then they'd have to forfeit games, or I don't know.
I think that was just, they say it's part of the plan, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. So, like, I don't think they planned on him playing this year. I don't think they planned on him entering the draft this year. I think it was like kind of like an in-between year because he reclassified, so it was kind of like an in-between year. So I don't know.
But that's why I think he's coming out, because if he was staying in school, once again, why wouldn't he play? And like, why would it matter if he got eligible for the draft? He wouldn't have been applied for it. He would have just stayed there. So like, I don't know.
Yeah. Calipari probably thinks he joined the team in January.
Right.
So with guys like that, it takes some time to get them into the fold and like running things the right way. And like, Calipari might have just viewed it as like, oh, he's just joining the team too late to get him to where we want him to be able to help the team. But like, talent-wise, I don't know. Like, he's a very talented player. So I don't know if it's necessarily like a red flag for me. It's just kind of a weird situation with him joining the team in January. Upside is undeniable, though, in my opinion. Like, he has star upside. For sure. And I would love... Honestly, like, watching him play a little bit, he reminds me a little bit of like a 6'6" Anthony Simons. Like that's but I've just watched highlights, you know what I mean? I don't know really anything about his game, but he gives off, you can tell the athleticism, shiftiness, ball handling ability, scoring ability. It's pretty apparent just watching him a little bit. 8 is Duran. Duran is rising back up draft boards. Duran at 8. I might get a chance to watch him and scout him in person against Chet Holmgren on Saturday.
I hope you have that opportunity. That'd be a good matchup to see him play against Timmy and Chet. Yeah.
Yeah. So if that's the matchup, I'm very interested. And see, that's the thing is like Duran's really like physically mature. Like he's like an NBA big in terms of like his strength and whatnot. So for all the people say, oh, Chet won't be able to handle the physicality of the NBA. Well, if Memphis wins their first round game against Boise State, and then assuming Gonzaga beats 16 seed Georgia State, you'll get your answer, or part of the answer. If it's Duran versus Timmy and Chet. I just wonder who Duran guards.
Yeah, this is another guy I think his measurements are going to be important because he doesn't seem that tall when I watch him play. He's obviously super athletic with a long wingspan, so that helps him out. But he doesn't look like 6'10", 6'11"-ish when I've watched him. But, he's such a frustrating guy because there's games I've watched him play, and it's like this guy has Bam Adebayo potential, right? Like, He shows the passing skills. He'll throw like a super fancy pass, a no-look pass, or or throw a great lob pass or something. And then like he won't have an assist for like 2 games or something, like it's just weird. And then like it just seems like he has the athleticism to dominate more than he has, but also he's a freshman big, which typically going back in history, I mean, I know recently there's been some outliers, like Chet's had a really good season.
Mm-hmm.
But like typically big men do not have great years their freshman years in college. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough for me to know because like if you just look on potential and stuff, I absolutely agree with him being this high because much like we just talked about with Sharp, like if this guy ever figures it out how to be consistent with it, he
Yeah.
could turn into a star.
Could make a lot of sense for the Blazers as like the eventual Nurkic replacement. He's going to take some time to develop. But here's the thing with him. I think if you have the right developmental system in place, I actually think he's a really safe pick. If
Yeah.
you don't, I think there's a chance that he could be a complete bust. I
Yeah.
think this guy, maybe more than any other guy in the lottery, is going to be a product of where he ends up.
Mm-hmm.
So, and maybe the Portland's the right developmental system for him, you know?
Yep.
Chauncey's good at developing playmaking, making the right reads, that type of thing. Chauncey might be the right coach for him.
And I mean, most likely we're keeping Nurk, but we could use a backup center as well. So
Jeremy Sohan at 9.
I know this is crazy.
Elite defensive prospect.
He's got badges for both on ball and off ball.
Feel for the game and playmaking. His
Adam,
playmaking hasn't stood out to me though.
he actually, so he actually is ran point guard for Baylor at times. So he is a
So
bit
it's
of a
like
playmaker.
Kendall Brown, dude. They
Well, I
like
know.
take turns and like
Yeah.
nobody runs full time point. So yeah, they like Kendall Brown initiates too.
But it's
Um,
more impressive for like because Kendall Brown's more of a small forward, and having a power forward that can do that is a little more impressive.
I mean, but what are his assist numbers? You know what I mean? Like, he's not a guy that's
I mean-
scoring for himself. Like, I look at playmaking as a guy that's able to, like, off the dribble, make plays for others and himself. Otherwise, just say passing. So when I think playmaking, it's like I'm thinking of him like, okay, scoring out of the pick and roll, scoring for himself off the dribble, and then being enough of a threat in that regard to draw multiple defenders and kick out. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I've just watched
He
the wrong
does
games
do
with
that,
him.
yeah.
But he seemed to be pretty limited in that regard. But I've watched like 3-4 Baylor games.
I wouldn't take him over several players that are ranked lower than him, but he does do that. He does have a good at his size. He is a playmaker. I'd say.
Is it translatable? Do you think?
Yeah, it is translatable because it's not like blowing by people or just because he's tall or whatever. Like he actually can get to the rim off of drives and he kicks out a lot. You can run him in the pick and roll either as the ball handler or the screener. So there's a lot of things you can do for him on the short roll. I think he's going to be really good in the NBA.
See, yeah. I mean, I guess my problem with Baylor is there's just been a lot of times where it's like I've wanted Kendall Brown to step up and do something, and when I've been wanting that, he's kind of disappeared. And then like during those times, it's like at least the games I've watched, like Sohan hasn't really stepped up. If he has that. Truly has that perimeter capability. It's just I guess I just watched him at the wrong time because I haven't really seen it. But that's the thing. I can watch the 4 games he sucks. You can watch the 4 games he plays his best, and we're just gonna have completely different opinions. So, that's why there's 2 of us to fill those gaps.
See, this is the problem. I say the same thing when I watch Duke. It's like with Baylor, they have a Kinjo who monopolizes the ball when he's in the game and shoots a lot of bad shots. They don't have a lot of 3-point shooting on their team, so the spacing's all messed up. So like I don't know, it's hard to like blame him for not having better overall stats. Like you mentioned the assist numbers, so like it's not like he has the ball all the time and is going to put up a bunch of assists, but I agree with Thomas Ransky. I like Sohan way better than Kendall Brown.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, that's the thing is we've talked about is, like, trading down from 9 or 10 to 15 and getting another pick because the Thunder right now have the 15th pick from the Clippers, maybe getting a future first. And I said you'd almost be guaranteed one of like 4 players I like. I guess throw Jeremy Sohan into that list. You'd probably, if you want like a playmaking forward, if that's what Chauncey values, then that a guy that can defend multiple positions, then that could be a good pick. But I'd want to trade down and take him at like 15 instead of taking him 9 or 10.
Right. I absolutely agree. And if he gets picked higher than 15, then one of those other players falls, so you're fine, right?
You're taking Agbaji or a Jovic or number of guys.
And if you are a fan of that strategy, you are going to love the next mock draft we show you after this.
Okay. Johnny Davis at 10, a little bit low. His stock has been falling a little bit. Has his stock fallen in your opinion, or are you still super high on him?
I'm still super high on him. I've said this all year. There's so many guys that are so close in my rankings that it's like not a knock on him if I like slide Keegan Murray or AJ Griffin ahead of him. It's just they're all just right there, and I'd be happy with any one of them. But he'll come into play in our next mock draft as well. But I still like him a lot. I think if his ankle's healthy, he's going to have a bit of a revitalization in the NCAA tournament. So look for that if he carries Wisconsin.
Colgate gonna win first round? Yeah, I'm just kidding.
All right.
Imagine.
They could.
I mean, any team could win first round. I mean, UMBC beat Virginia back in the day. So, Johnny Davis 10 is a lot of mock drafts and big boards I've seen have taken him from like the 4 to 6 range to like the 6 to 8 range. This is the lowest I've seen him recently, though, at 10. 11, Dyson Daniels. I don't know much about him. 12 is Jaden Hardy.
Yeah, it gets weird here.
Yeah, Jaden Hardy is questionable. Like, he can score a bit, but he doesn't seem like he's gonna... Like, he seems one of those guys who could be an inefficient scorer who doesn't do anything else well and makes bad decisions and takes bad shots.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't see having him at 12. Because he hasn't, like... He's scored the ball in the G League because he plays for G League Ignite, but, like, those deficiencies he hasn't really seemingly improved on. From what I've read about him, obviously I haven't watched a G League game, but just kind of like looking at him statistically, he's just it's just one of those guys that doesn't seem like an NBA point guard, is an undersized 6-man shooting guard, which I guess is fine, but that's not worth the 12th spot on the big board.
Yeah, it's tough for me because I haven't, outside of highlights, I haven't seen anything with the G League guys, so I don't know. Maybe I'll be swayed when I'm trying to find a game of the Ignites to actually watch, but yeah.
But I'm just gonna say it now. I don't think you're gonna have him above Mathurin.
No,
and I will never have him above Mathurin.
Absolutely not.
That's wild to me.
But this is so Mathurin at 13, and this is what I was talking about. Is if we're sitting there at 9 or something, you still have like Johnny Davis on the board. You still have Mathurin on the board. You still have Agbaji. You still have Jovic. All those guys, like, why not trade back at that point? And you probably still get one of them, and you pick up an additional asset, and you don't have to take Sohan at 9.
Yeah. Ty Washington, 14. I mean... Kentucky guards have a good track record the past couple of years, so, I mean, I feel like this is a little bit low for him. He has size, has shot-making ability, decent speed.
Yeah, well, I mean, I might be a little biased because obviously I'm not looking super hard at point guards because of the Blazers. I mean, I've watched a few Kentucky games, but I mean, I like Ty, but I have him like 14th on my big board just because I like so many guys, right? So, but once again, it's not like he's. I mean, I think if you get him at 14, that's a good pick.
Yeah, it just seems like Calipari has limited his freshman guards in previous years, and then they get to the league and prove that they can do more. I mean, like, look at like a Tyrese Maxey. So given that, I'm willing to give him a little bit more benefit of the doubt than maybe somebody playing for a different school. So I think that has to play into it a little bit. Which maybe it shouldn't, but I think I'm a little higher on him than you just because of that reason alone. Because I haven't watched him and been like, oh my goodness, this guy's like insane. But just knowing kind of the previous couple of years, like Tyler Hero, Tyrese Maxey, Emmanuel Quickly was looked at as like a huge reach at 26, and I know he hasn't had the greatest season, but considering they took him at 26, now that looks like a pretty solid pick. Maybe he probably needs to end up somewhere other than freaking New York, because New York is a mess, despite them beating us by 30 today. I'll give him that. Tari Eason, 15. Solid, I guess. We've talked a lot about him. We don't have to talk about him more. Wesley, 16, above Agbaji. I don't know. I haven't watched any Blake Wesley. Have you?
I watched one Notre Dame game, and unfortunately that game was on tonight while we came on the air.
Oh,
but
they're actually playing right now. 5 minutes left, close game. Shoot, I forgot.
I was actually hoping they won so that I could watch him a little more in the other game. It was whatever game in the ACC they lost. Was that against Virginia Tech that they lost? I don't remember. I watched so many basketball games.
Was it in the conference tournament?
Yeah.
I don't think it was against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech had a buzzer beater against Clemson, and then didn't they? Did they play another game before they played North Carolina? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
But I mean, if Notre Dame wins this game, he'll be a guy to watch play against Alabama in a couple of days in the NCAA tournament. I haven't watched them, so I'm hoping they win this game too, so that I can watch them, and because I don't think Rutgers deserve to be in the tournament at all. So he's 16 above Agbaji. I don't understand that at all. Agbaji's being knocked due to his age.
That's gonna be the knock on him. So
yep, which is ridiculous. So you're EJ Liddell, 18. Yep. I need to watch him. So Ohio State versus Loyola Chicago in the first round. We'll watch that game. Walker Kessler developing a shot would be the cherry on top. I mean, he can protect the rim, but I don't see him ever being a starting center.
I agree.
Primarily a drop defender in the pick and roll, but has shown agility to get stops on the perimeter. You don't want to run drop in the pick and roll in the NBA. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, at times you can, but
at times you can, but not, as much as you can get away with running it in college. Let's
just scroll through these.
Brandon, Kendall
get
Brown,
to the other one.
Koloko. Let me know if you want to stop and talk about any of these guys. Koloko. It's nice seeing a big board not have him in like the 30s or the 40s. Okay, so 22. Thankfully, somebody respects Christian Koloko. Shades of Clint Capella. That was my comparison for him. I had never seen that comparison before, but it's right here. Shades of Clint Capella and Ed Davis.
Everyone says that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anyone say that. I said that, so I'll take the credit. Beauchamp.
No, you get no credit.
Okay, fine. I don't need no credit. Mark Williams. I got 100 some people watching our stream. Eric, that's my credit. That's all I need, is people listening to me. Mark Williams at 24. Consistent Hassan Whiteside. That's a funny comparison. Jovic is too low.
Robert Williams at 24 is good.
Yeah. I mean, Mark Williams late in the first round would be solid. Jovic 25, I think, is too low. Not Nikola Jokic. He's funny. Patrick Baldwin at 26 could be a guy that is one of those guys that's talented in high school, went to college, that ended up in a weird situation. His draft fell and then got drafted in the 20s and then ended up being really good. Hopefully Nasir Little's one of those players. But he's supposed to be a shooter and he shot 26% from three. So.
Oh, Kyle Pearson's a Jovic hater.
SMH, man. Shaking my head. G. Montero, I don't know anything about him. He's overtime elite. I ain't watching no overtime elite. Stretched out JJ Barea. What are these comparisons? Brown, 28 more. Roddy at 30. Okay.
There's your boy.
There's my guy, David Roddy. Honestly, I think they lose in the first round, though, unfortunately. I think Michigan beats them.
Yeah.
To be fair, but he's a fun. What Minus says, what would happen if he slims down by 15 to 20 pounds? That's the question on the mind of most NBA teams. That's what I've been saying. I've been saying 30 pounds.
I'll give you credit for that, Tori.
6'6", 255. Dude looks like a football player, man. Dude is big. Unproven shooter, one season of success, doesn't erase his subpar percentage on his jumper. Okay, that's fair. Interesting. Okay, so that's the big board. I like that they had David Roddy there. So some things I like in here, some things I hate. Mm-hmm. It's probably going to be the case for every big board.
It gets weird around 9, yeah.
Yeah, it gets really weird around 9.
Or I guess 8 with during being 8.
Yep. So you want to look at the mock draft and look at Tankathon?
Yep.
Okay, let's do the mock draft.
I think your mic is close to your phone or something.
It is, you're right. Thanks for letting me know.
No
Mock, problem. Yeah. Who's this by? No Ceilings, 11 hours ago. 2022 NBA Mock Draft version 4.
So this is like several guys that all compile this stuff, but they let them take turns picking. And I got into it with the guy who picked for Portland at 8.
Got into it is maybe a little strong.
No, I didn't get into it, but like I questioned what he said. So we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, so I think they had Chet going 1, right?
Yeah, let's see. Houston Rockets, Chet. Man, I don't want Chet in Houston. Jabari Smith in Orlando. Put Chet in Orlando with Jalen Suggs, man. And put Jabari Smith in Houston.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Chet's, as we said earlier, kind of the trendy number 1 pick now. 3, Jaden Ivey at 3? Okay.
That was for the Pistons, which I can see. I really would not know what the Pistons would do. I could see them doing either going after Banchero or Ivy. I think both of them fit really well with Cade.
Yeah, Pistons will be very interesting. It'll be interesting to see if they fall out of the top 4, though, who they take then, because they would be like the team to take Shaedon Sharpe, I feel like, at like 5. 4 Banchero, 5 AJ Griffin, 6 Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray's definitely jumped into the tier with like AJ Griffin, and honestly, he's kind of seemingly replaced Johnny Davis in that tier, like right here with like Sharp, Griffin, Keegan Murray now instead of Johnny Davis. Duran though has been moving up mock draft board, so 7 to San Antonio. That's interesting. At 8, the Blazers take Johnny Davis.
Yeah, and read what it says.
Portland is stuck in a tricky in-between scenario where a decision from Damian Lillard to ask out could drastically change the franchise's trajectory and goals at a moment's notice. So this is what you got into it with him. Basically, he thinks Dame's going to ask out. Even though Dame has said 1,000,000 times he's not going to ask out.
I politely asked him why he's still... like, how many times Dame has to say he's not going anywhere before he'll believe him. And he said it was more like he just has a feeling they'll eventually mutually part ways. But... in my mind, once again, I've been saying this, I've been very consistent with it from day one. Dame's character is not going to just change. Like, this is who he is. He realized that this summer. He flirted with doing something that he wasn't comfortable doing, and he realized that was not who he is. And I don't think he's going to ask out. I mean... I can't
would
say
have asked out by now, I think.
Several years down the road, maybe, but like, or maybe we go to him and say, "Hey, man, it's just not working out. We tried. If this doesn't work out 2 or 3 years from now, do you want to move on or do you want to stay here?" But yeah, so to me, I just cringe anytime someone says like we're still stuck in this situation where, oh no, is Dame going to stay this summer or is he going to ask out? Because the answer is no, he's not asking out this summer. I'll put my life on that.
The only, I wouldn't go that strong because the only way where that happens is if ownership is like, no, we're not going to give you an extension.
Right.
But that would be on ownership. That would be on ownership, basically, like not wanting him here long term. So, but that wouldn't be Dame asking out. You know what I mean? Right. That wouldn't be Dame demanding a trade. But that's like the only potential in that regard is ownership or the front office.
But I mean, if our ownership is dumb, I will never forgive them, and that's on them. That's not Dame
Yeah.
changing his mind or asking out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So Johnny Davis at 8. Um,
So I'm really torn here because I love Johnny Davis. I think he would be good, but like you were saying, unless we traded Hart, it makes no sense to take him, especially with the players that are on the board with Duran. Sorry, I keep messing that up. Duran going ahead of us here. That's just crazy to me.
yeah. And I mean, like, what are you going to trade Hart, Bledsoe, and our 9th pick for? That really makes a ton of sense, you know?
Right.
Like, Anunoby,
So,
do the Raptors do that? I don't know.
well, just scroll down one. Let's see, because Portland's back-to-back picks in this.
Oh, Agbaji.
So we take Agbaji. So once again, love Agbaji, right?
Mm-hmm.
But taking Davis and Agbaji, man, I don't know. Like, I'd be fine with Agbaji, I guess, but in this scenario, I'm trading down with both picks.
Yeah.
I'm trading back like a few spots. I still know, like, I could trade back to 10 or 11 and know that I'm guaranteed one of Agbaji and Mathurin still, so I'm good there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, as we scroll down further, like, Eason doesn't go until like 17 or something like that.
Yeah.
So like we could trade back to 15, like 12 and 15, and get Agbaji and Eason if that was our route, or just take Mathurin here at 8 and then someone else at 9. But
I'm more okay with taking Agbaji if we take a forward.
Exactly.
So yeah, because he's kind of like a shooting guard, small forward type. If we draft a shooting guard and then draft a Agbaji, it makes less sense than if we draft like a power forward and then draft Agbaji.
Right.
So
But
a guard and a shooting guard, small forward, wing. Like it doesn't really make sense to me.
out of all the guys, I mean, I don't know about Sharp, I guess, but
Is Sharp in
between
the smoke? I don't think Sharp is.
I don't think Sharp is in this one, so that could be another person that, if he's in this draft, players are like, or some team could call us at 8, like who really wants Sharp or whatever, or we could take them at 8. But so I'm most confident. Just eye test. Agbaji's going to measure better than he's listed.
Yeah.
He's listed at 6'5". He absolutely looks bigger to me than Mathurin. So like a measurement's going to come into play here, I guess. Which one I like better between Agbaji and Mathurin, but I think Agbaji's going to have good measurements. So I think he's going to ultimately be able to play the 3. But that's just projection right now until it happens.
Yep, I will have a video for you guys in terms of like whose measurements to be on the lookout for the draft combine right before the draft combine. I will have that for you, and then I'll have a video like discussing some of the measurements and some of the things from the draft combine. That the draft combine's from May 16th to 22nd, so the draft lottery is on May 17th. So we'll find out our draft position and find out more about some of these prospects. And maybe it won't matter because maybe we won't have the Pelicans pick.
AJ, they do it both without shoes and with shoes for those who choose to measurement. I mean, certain players might opt out and not measure, but yeah.
I really need to do some research on Dyson Daniels, but my research on him probably won't be watching G League games. It'll probably be looking at scouting reports and looking at some scouting videos and seeing what people I trust say about him, and then try to make my own mindset off of, some positive footage, some negative footage, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I just want to watch one G League a night full of games since there's so many prospects from there.
Yeah, it's just like that's the thing is watching one. For me, it's like watching one game isn't enough.
Well,
it doesn't really like change any. Like I'd have to watch multiple games to get a feel for them that way compared to or more of a feel for them that way compared to watching some scouting videos.
I like to watch a game before I see a scouting video, because then I could be like, oh, you know what? Like I noticed that too, or wait, I didn't see that at all. What is this person? And then I'll look into it more.
Yeah. It's just tough with G League at night, to be honest. So, I mean, he's a big guard.
Yes, Emerson, we are going live, and we'll have a draft lottery party. We'll all watch it together. All are welcome.
Yep. He'll be right here on the main channel. Sohan at 12, so it seems like he's rising up draft boards a little bit.
Yeah.
Patrick Baldwin at 13.
Yeah.
That's pretty high for him. Grabbing Patrick Baldwin Jr. at the spot in the draft feels like a massive steal. Has this dude not paid attention this year and still thinks Patrick Baldwin is a projected top 10 pick?
I mean, some people base all their things on what they thought of him from the beginning and don't change much, yeah.
He looked awesome in the U19 team playing off Jaden Ivey and Chet Holmgren. Really? Why don't you watch him this... Like, okay, I don't know. Potential great fit here because he won't ever be asked to be main creator, initiator on offense. I mean, he's a shooter, and that's pretty much it. And he shot 26% from three. I mean, maybe grows into a playmaker and a defender, but it's like you're just projecting things that aren't there yet, which would be the case with with like everybody in the first round. So I don't know how you put stock in that. So that's a reach. Mark Williams, 14. Makes sense for Charlotte, but... how do you feel about Mark Williams, 14, Charlotte?
I like it.
Yeah, it makes sense for Charlotte. Kendall Brown, 15. Ty Washington falls to 16. That's, I mean, good for Houston in that case. They finally get a point guard. Tari Eason at 17.
So, in this draft, right?
Uh-huh.
They have the Spurs at 17 and 21.
Mm-hmm.
Man. So, we could take, like, Mathurin at 8, right?
Yeah.
And then trade 9 for 17 and 21 and get Tari Eason and Christian Koloko.
Was Koloko at 21 in this draft?
No, he's not even on here.
Oh, of course not.
Yeah, so he's not in the first round on this one. Yeah, so I don't know if that... Some people think he's going back to school, which I don't think makes sense either. But so, would you be okay with that? Coming out of this draft with Mathurin, Eason, and Koloko?
I would just wonder if maybe we could have traded down again to get Koloko, because everybody seems to be so low on him,
I'm cool with that too, but...
I mean, I'd be fine with that.
And then if we still have our second round pick, yeah. So
because I'd consider Tari Eason at 10, you know what I mean? So if we traded down to 17 and got him and then got somebody else, like, I'd definitely be down with that.
Good night, Austin.
Liddell, 18, Hardy, 19, Branham, 20, 21, Peyton Watson? Is this the same dude?
Albert,
oh, it's the same dude that took Patrick Baldwin Jr.
Yep.
13, so this dude hasn't watched any college basketball this year, okay.
It'll be interesting to see if Peyton Watson comes out or not.
He's not. If he comes out, he's not.
Year.
Yeah.
He'll probably. I mean, I could see a team like. I mean, the Spurs, took Primo at 12, so I can't say anything would be a surprise. But like, I can't see him going this high, like before like late first, early second at the absolute earliest, but. I can't see him not falling into like the middle of the second round.
He could go undrafted.
Yeah, it's just. Although, I mean, like in the second round, that's the type of guy that I've been talking about is to just take a flyer on. I'd rather just go on upside than that, but he hasn't shown anything this year.
Yeah, I feel like this dude just looked at the recruiting rankings from. Going into the season, like Patrick Baldwin was a top 10 prospect and so was Peyton Watson, and just took the top guy on the recruiting rankings. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's what this Albert guy did, because he took Patrick Baldwin Jr. too, so...
There was a game in the Pac-12 tourney where Peyton Watson scored a basket, and then the next play down he, got fouled and made a free throw or something. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about it like, this is the Peyton Watson we've been waiting for. It wasn't even Bill Walton, over exaggerating it.
Yeah.
But and so I looked at the box score and he had 5 points, and I was like, okay. And I think he finished the game with 5 points. It's like that was his highlight of the season, was scoring 5 points in the Pac-12 tourney.
Yeah, that's super suspect. Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
Kessler. Mavs. Why does he seem like a Mavericks player? 22 to the Mavs. Justin Lewis, 23. That's a bit high for my liking.
Yeah.
Beauchamp 24, Christie 25, maybe a little high for my liking. He's super inconsistent. Houston 26. Oh, it's not that Albert guy. I was thinking this was going to be that Albert guy.
That would have been so funny.
Jovic at 27. Dude, imagine like he could Jovic at 27.
But
People
I mean,
sleeping on Jovic.
once again, there's another player we could trade back and probably get at this point, you know? So, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Musa Diabate. I haven't seen him on draft boards, but because I think people expect him to go back, but he's intriguing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna have to watch him in the tournament.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd spend a first-round pick on him, but he's definitely someone I'd probably consider in the second round with our 30th pick or whatever.
Yeah. Persida 29, I don't know anything about him. I've seen him as a second-round prospect, but that seems slightly high. But, I mean, at this point in the draft, you know, it's very fluid, so you know, I'm not going to say it's a reach or anything. 30, Gene Montero. Who's missing from this? Coloco? I feel like there's somebody, like, legit missing from this.
Well, you mentioned Sharp not being in there.
Yeah, Sharp. But, like, I mean, like, Wendell Moore Jr. wasn't taken. Coloco wasn't taken. I guess they took pretty much everybody else that's on this big board. Except for Wesley, but Ringer has Wesley too high.
Did they take AJ Liddell?
Yeah, they took AJ Liddell to the Timberwolves at like 18, which is where I've seen him. I think that's a little bit high. But
I don't know if I said this or not. I was thinking it a while ago, but thank you to Adam McVeigh for becoming a starter member.
Oh, yeah.
And then we also have a Hyper Prime $5 donation. This is a draft-related question, but how high were y'all on Ant and Gary Trent Jr. in the 2018 draft? Did you guys expect them to be as good as they are?
I was like, on Ant, but I saw the upside. I hated the Trent Jr. pick because I didn't like giving up 2 second-round picks for him, and I didn't think Trent Jr. would be that good. So I was wrong on Gary Trent Jr., to be honest with you. I just didn't think he was as good of a shooter as he was. Like, I thought he was overrated as a shooter. And I didn't think he would be able to do anything else. And honestly, like, he still doesn't really do anything else. I mean, people think he's a good defender. I think he's overrated on that end. It's mostly just gunning for steals for the most part. He's solid, but yeah, honestly, I'm still like not like a big Gary Trent Jr. fan. I know he's put up some big games, but he like you can't rely on him every game. Like, he has games where he just chucks up a 5 for 20 shooting night. Everybody talks about his good games. It seems like we don't hear about his bad games, but if you go look at his game log, there's a lot of bad games in there that you don't hear about because nobody talks about his bad games.
His overall percentages aren't great this year, but
yeah,
I was a little unsure of Ant. Obviously, it's kind of like the Shaden Sharp situation. Like, all you have is film of him being the small high school point guard and stuff. So there wasn't a lot to know about him, but I love the just pick best, like the most upside player at that position and hope you hit lightning in a bottle, which maybe took a little longer than expected, but looks like that happened. But I had no problem with picking him there. I really like Kyrie Thomas in that draft, so I was a little disappointed we took Ant over him. I know that kind of sounds stupid.
Yeah, but, I like Kyrie Thomas too.
And then we trade two second-round picks. I think it was 37, right, for Gary Trent. And Kyrie Thomas is still on the board, and I was like, yes, we're going to get both of them. And I thought we were going to do it. So, like, I had a, like, bias against Gary Trent Jr. at first because then the Pistons traded for him and got him at the next pick at 38. So,
Where did Kyrie Thomas even play again?
He went to Detroit.
No, I mean, like, in college.
Wasn't it Creighton? Yeah, I think it was Creighton. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember both of us liked him, and we were wrong. We were just straight up wrong on him. Speaking of Blake Wesley, though, because I was going to say this earlier, Rutgers and Notre Dame is in overtime. Rutgers is up 3 with 2.5 minutes left. I got to play in here. So I'll keep you guys updated.
I didn't like how we gave up 2 seconds either to get Trent, because at the time that was a lot to give up, especially considering the year before. I think that same pick went for like $500,000 cash or something. It was, if I'm not mistaken, that was the God, I'm blanking on his name, but the Jordan Bell to the Warriors or something.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I was a little mad that we gave up 2 seconds in a worse draft for that. But I understood at the time, like, Gary Trent was the best 3-point shooter projected in that draft, so we needed some shooting. I think that was the projection there, and it both of those picks panned out. So
Notre Dame tied the game with the 3. This is a really good March Madness game. I'm not even gonna lie. I have it on my phone right here in front of me.
And your phone's messing with your mic again.
Is it messing with my mic? I have it further away. How far away do I have to have this? Let me put my mouse more.
Yeah, even Matt Mull said it was too.
I don't.
So it's not just me.
No, yeah, it definitely interferes for whatever reason.
All right.
Why, but...
So we got 7th and 9th. Let's go.
Yep, because the Spurs won off a Lonnie Walker game-winning 3 today with 1.3 seconds left. They were down 1. They had choked a big lead to the Thunder, and then Lonnie Walker came through. So now we're back up to 32% chance, top 4, 7.5% chance at number 1. The other game I'm watching right now, I'll just put it up on the screen. Kings are down 89-82 with 3 minutes left in the third. So they still have a chance to win this game. You got Giannis playing for the Bucks. You got... pause this ad. You got Drew Holiday, you got Chris Middleton, so this is a pretty healthy Bucks team, healthier than maybe they've been all season because they finally got Brook Lopez back, and the Kings are hanging in there with them. This is the box score if you guys are interested. De'Aaron Fox is really struggling, so I'm surprised that the Kings are hanging in there with the Bucks. They've I don't know, like, you look at their box score and it's like it doesn't seem like anybody's doing good. And as a team, they're not shooting great, but they have 82 points with 3 minutes left in the third against the Bucks, so that's pretty solid. I think you'll take that. Especially with them shooting 50% from the field and 44% from 3. I don't understand how they're only down 7, just like looking at these stats here. But yeah, so we'll keep you posted with this game. We'll probably sign off before this game ends, though. But back to Tankathon. So if the Kings somehow win this game, we'd only be a game and a half back of them. Right now, we're only 1 game back in the win column, so we'd be tied in the win column if they ended up winning this game. The thing is they've played 3 more games than us at this point.
Just a side note real quick. Toronto's up 10 in LA. If they win that game, they are tied with the Cavs for the 6th spot. So they'll be duking it out for either actual playoff game or have to play in the play-in.
And if the Lakers lose this game, they'll be alone in 10th place. New York
Lakers
won.
did lose.
Oh, wait. I thought Toronto was... Oh, no, Toronto just played the Lakers.
Yeah, Toronto's playing the Clippers.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking... Yeah, okay.
I said LA, but yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking Lakers because they just...
I confused you.
But the Lakers right now are tied with New York for 10th. So the Pelicans are rooting against the Lakers for sure. Because this pick actually goes to the Pelicans if it's at 10th. It goes to the Grizzlies if it's at 11th. So that's going to be interesting to watch. New Orleans is only a game back of the Lakers, Eric.
Yep.
The Lakers could actually fall out of the play-in altogether.
But like I was saying, I mean, they're 7 games back of the Clippers, so I don't think they have a chance of moving into that second play-in. And we talked about all along, unless the Spurs catch them, it's pretty much been going to come down to whether or not they win 2 play-in games anyway.
Yep. So Indiana's catchable. Mills Welsh asked this earlier. Indiana is certainly catchable. If we lose against them, because we play them one more time, we'd have to lose against them, and then we'd have to lose 2 more games than them over the rest of the season. Because if we lose against them, they'd go to basically 24 wins for our 26, and then they'd be 2 wins back. So it's possible to catch Indiana. We're going to have to tank hard, and they're going to have to win a couple games. They suck right now, 3-7 over their last 10. So, they're going to have to lose games. We're 2-8. So it's possible to catch the Pacers for 5th. At that point, we'd have 42% chance of the top 4. So I'm rooting. Honestly, the only teams I'm focused on, I'm not focused on this top 4. I don't think this top 4 is I don't think there's any chance we pass any of them. We have 6 more wins to the Thunder at this point. So I'm rooting for Indiana, rooting for Sacramento, rooting for San Antonio, rooting against New Orleans. Okay? I want San Antonio to pass New Orleans for this play-in spot. And if they don't, I'm rooting for the Lakers to have this playing game at home. So I'm rooting for OKC, Indiana, Sacramento, San Antonio, the Lakers, and the Knicks, and I'm rooting against against New Orleans and against Portland.
Yep.
So let's simulate this. And hopefully we get some post-game luck on the second night in a row, Eric.
42 tribes is pretty much impossible for us to get 2nd and 7th.
Yes, it is. Because the Pelicans pick would have to rise up like to 7th, and we'd have to rise up to 6th, which means that Sacramento would have to fall to 8th. They'd have to pass us and the Pelicans. That's not like
Pelicans would pretty much have to lose out.
Yep. So, all right. Well, were we the first pick on the last post-game show? Or the third pick?
We were first or second, I think.
Yeah, I think we were.
I think we might have been first.
I don't think we were first. I don't know. But hopefully we're first this time. I don't remember. Chat, you can remind us. Charlotte, Washington is already... Well, this would be bad news because that's one team into the top 4, and that team is...
We had second.
Who is 13th?
Atlanta?
Atlanta moves into the top 4. New York, that means that the Lakers pick goes to the Grizzlies at 11, so the Pelicans get screwed. This should be the Pelicans pick to us, and we get screwed. So the Pelicans lucked out after getting screwed. At 9, it's... Oh, no, we're not screwed. We moved into the top 4.
Wow.
What is this lottery sim?
The Hawks, Pelicans, and us so far.
Yeah.
What is going on?
So at this point, I'd be pretty happy. Like I would trade, 7 and 9 for like a top 3 pick. So at this point, it'd just be please be top 3. But honestly, we have 2 teams below us that are moving to the top 4, so we'd have a pretty good chance of getting a top 2 pick. So wild lottery sim. 8 and Indiana.
Also, that means that at least 3 of the teams out of that bottom 4 move out of the top 4. So
yeah.
We might get a haul from one of them to move back up as well.
Mm-hmm. Houston and Orlando and OKC. So Detroit is left. Detroit, Portland, Atlanta, and New Orleans. At 4, please don't be Portland. At 4, it's Detroit. It's the one team with good odds. So you leave Portland. You leave Portland, New Orleans, and Atlanta. You got C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard standing next to each other, rooting for their teams to get the number 1 overall pick.
Double
what is
overtime
this
for Rutgers, Notre Dame, by the way.
Double overtime. We're gonna have to end the stream before That's a phenomenal basketball game. At 3.
Wait, just real quick.
Yeah.
Serves you right, Thunder, for tanking for multiple seasons. If this happens.
7th. Oh my goodness. At 3, Eric. Please be Atlanta. Oh, it's New Orleans. So New Orleans is 3. It's between Atlanta, which actually I'd want it to be New Orleans because Atlanta has lower odds. So Atlanta or Portland. Portland is much more likely to get number 1 overall than Atlanta. And Portland gets the number 1 overall pick.
So we don't get the Pelicans pick, but we get the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
This is like the craziest sim ever.
Yeah, so would this be a good case scenario, great case scenario? Like, would this be... anytime you get the number 1 pick, I think is great. Obviously, it's not the best case scenario. Best case scenario would be keeping this Pelicans pick. But, imagine, no, we lost the Pelicans pick, and then we end up number 1.
So now we get Jabari Smith, and we can trade for someone with our future Milwaukee first, I guess.
Yeah, which is unprotected, right?
No, it's protected top 4, and then turns into a second rounder if it doesn't hit.
We couldn't even get that unprotected.
Yep, we could not.
Because it was unprotected to New Orleans, so they put...
Yep, okay. So New Orleans keeps it. Yeah.
Yeah, but number 1 overall pick, But here's... Oh, God, dude. Like, this... I would be hyped, but also it'd be like, dang, we couldn't get 2. You know what I mean? Because at 1, it's like... At 2, it's like, you just take Jabari or Chet, whichever one is left. I'm pretty even on him. At 1, it's like, you better pick the right freaking guy.
Yeah.
You better not make another Greg Oden over Kevin Durant pick, right? And who knows who people would think Chet's the Greg Oden in that scenario. Chet could be the Kevin Durant for all we know. Like, Yeah, I mean, and then Banchero at 3 to New Orleans, or Ivy could make sense to New Orleans at 3. Because you got Ingram and you got Zion at the 3 and 4, so I feel like New Orleans would go Ivy and start Ivy next to CJ in the backcourt.
I wonder what they do with Zion if they move him possibly and don't want to deal with him anymore.
Or they trade the 3rd pick for Karl Anthony Towns. Imagine. Yeah, that's a wild Tankathon sim. Anyway, we got the first overall pick for, I think, the first time in any of our post-game shows with the Tankathon sim, so there you guys go. That's a very interesting Tankathon sim. Anyway, anything else for the stream, Eric?
No, just appreciate everyone of you that watched tonight and who has stuck through all these tough times. And I hope you guys are having fun with just these other things we're doing, doing the mock drafts and the Tankathon and all that kind of stuff, rooting for Lonnie Walker to hit a 3.
yeah, it's definitely wild. It's definitely different.
It's been a lot better stream than, we always go into these streams like, what the heck are we going to talk about?
Yeah, see,
but like, always something happens, yeah.
There was a span of time where it was like trying to talk about the game, and now it's been better since we've just like embraced talking about completely different stuff, and hopefully you guys enjoy that more. So, Rutgers versus Notre Dame is an overtime first 4 game on True TV, actually. Good game to watch. Good college basketball game. College basketball all day tomorrow. We'll have Blazers Uprise live in the middle of that, going live around 3:30 p.m. We'll talk probably about some college basketball. Please join our free bracket poll. There's a link in the description box below. You still got time to join that and fill out a bracket. Please let me know if you want to join our $20 bracket poll. We're still in people join that. So DM me on Twitter if you want to join our $20 bracket poll. The Twitter handle is at Tory Jones YT. I just put it in the chat. Okay, so still got time for that. I'm going to sign off here and watch the rest of this game. Terrific basketball in double overtime. Rutgers and Notre Dame still tied at 81. Hopefully you guys enjoy the college basketball tomorrow. I'm certainly going to. I'm going to be tweeting about it all day. And we'll stream and talk a little bit about it. Have one game for Picks Against the Spread tomorrow on Blazers Uprise Live. That is our second channel. Link in the top of the description box below. I think that covers every plug. Anything else, Eric?
No, thanks everyone, and join that thing. Have some fun. Even if you have no idea. I mean, there's a seed. The higher number is
the lower the number, the better. The 1 seeds are better than 6 teams. Yep.
And there's on CBS Sports, which is the site that we did it on. There's a little icon right next to the game. You can click on it, look at all the teams' records, stats, and there's a little write-up of each team if you want to read that, or just have fun, and there's a button at the top that says like randomize the teams or whatever, and then you don't even have to pick them. You can let the computer decide, and then you can just root for whatever team the computer spit out. Just have some fun with it, print out a bracket, watch the game, see how good you did, and then tell us. I want to hear some of you guys who are or gals that are doing this for the first time and just did a random bracket or just had no idea what you were doing. I want to hear how you did and if you liked following along and all that kind of stuff. I love those stories. So so more of those, the better. Join the league. Join the bracket pool. Link top of the description. With that being said, that's a wrap for this post-game show. Thank you for tuning in and making us a part of your Wednesday evening. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.